All right, so to Florida now, where unprecedented recounts are underway in two major midterm races. In the fight for governor, Republican Ron DeSantis has a narrow lead over Democrat Andrew Gillum. And in the Senate race, Republican Rick Scott is barely leading Democrat Bill Nelson.
President Trump tweeted about the races, saying they should be called in favor of Scott and DeSantis, claiming new ballots showed up out of nowhere and that many ballots are missing or forged. Manuel Bojorquez takes a closer look.
One day after Democrat Andrew Gillum officially withdrew his concession against Republican Ron DeSantis, partisan protesters continued their raucous demonstrations in Broward County.
When you cheat the system of electing our officials, it is no longer we the people.
Some Republicans, including the president, have suggested Democrats are trying to steal the election. Democrats say they're following state guidelines for elections that are this close.
We're here to make sure that all the votes count. There is no fraud.
Republican Senate candidate Rick Scott holds a razor-thin lead in the Senate race against incumbent Democrat Bill Nelson. Scott filed a suit against Supervisor of Elections Brenda Snipes, who the lawsuit claims failed to provide the total vote count on schedule. In Broward County, 205 valid ballots were mixed with 22 rejected ones. It's deja vu all over again. Remember Bush versus Gore in the 2000 presidential election? That Florida recount took more than 5 weeks and untold lawsuits before George W. Bush was declared the winner by 537 votes. Sunday night, Andrew Gillum took to the pulpit, preaching to his choir.
I demand that every vote be counted in this process.
Anna Carbonell is with the Rick Scott Senate campaign.
Everybody keeps saying, here we go again, Florida, Florida, Florida. Yeah. What do you say to that?
Look, the truth of the matter is that 65 counties were able to follow the law and make sure that the process went as smoothly as possible. Sadly, 2 counties did not follow the law.
So Manuel Bojorquez is with us now from Broward County's Election Center in Lauderhill, Florida. You're right in the thick of it, Manuel. Let's start with the Senate race.
That's right.
Why exactly is Rick Scott claiming fraud in this election? What is he noticing?
Well, first things first, we should tell you we're in the canvassing room, and if the board does decide to meet, we'll have to be quiet. So I'll let you know that right off the top there. But the governor had said that he believed there may be rampant fraud in these elections. The lawsuit he filed after that because the county here, Broward County, according to the lawsuit, had not reported the total number of ballots that were supposed to be counted in the election. So they went back and forth on that. And the president this morning also tweeting that he did not believe there could be a clean recount at this point because of what he called massively infected ballots. But we should point out that at this point, the state's top law enforcement agency has said that there is no evidence of voter fraud in the election so far.
You know, Manny, it strikes me that the governor is claiming this when he's been the governor for a number of years in that state. The responsibility of these elections fall under his aegis. I don't understand why at this point he, along with the president, would be attacking these institutions, which are sort of the bedrock of democracy. If there's an issue, if the votes tighten, then it triggers a recount. That's just the way it works.
That's right. Clearly, they want to make sure that they have their attorneys and the people overseeing all of this in these rooms, trying to make sure that everything is done properly by the book and that every vote that is legally cast will be counted. So that is their argument here, that they believe that some of the votes that were counted may not have been properly submitted on time. That's one lawsuit that's going on right now. They may also look at the machines. If there are errors with those machines, there will be some suspicion cast on whether this process has been done by the book.
So the other race that everyone's watching is the governor's race between Gillum and DeSantis. Gillum conceded and then reversed his concession. What is going on there?
Yeah, and last night he was at a church here in Broward County, basically saying that he was replacing his words of concession with words saying that he believes that every vote should be counted. On election night, we were there when he conceded. It was about 80,000 votes a difference. They did not think they could make up that margin. But as those mail-in ballots were continued to be counted in some of these counties here that typically lean blue, that margin started to shrink to about 30 or so thousand. Still a big number to overcome, but they're holding out hope that there may be an even more tightening of those numbers as the recount happens.
And so, Manny, we know the recounts have a Thursday deadline. What happens if they don't meet that?
Yeah, it's going to be tough for a lot of these counties to meet that. That's been said here in Broward County and very explicitly north of us in Palm Beach County, where they don't think they'll make the deadline. By law, the unofficial results that they submitted on Saturday will have to stand. But you can imagine between now and then there will be even probably more lawsuits filed, a deeper dive into all of this by everybody who is looking so intently on this. The Senate race could go to a second recount, which would be a hand recount, and that's where they would take any questionable ballots and look at them on a one-by-one basis, review them to see what the voters' intent was. And that also, as you know, could be a very gray area. There would be probably more lawsuits filed if it gets to that point.
All right. Everybody remembers what happened in the 2000 election.
Yeah,
there
Groundhog
again
Day.
in Florida. Yeah, Groundhog Day. Manny, thank you very much.
That's right. Thank you.